What's up gamers, Brian from Island Delver Gaming here, and for this video, we have an updated Dromai list. This has been the latest version of the Dromai deck that I have built. And if you're looking for a Dromai Blitz list, I hope you can use this as a reference to build your own Dromai list. So this particular list will have a legendary card, and that legendary card would be very critical for this particular build. So here's the list. So first, we have our hero Dromai. Let's put you out of the way. So this is the legendary that I was mentioning about. This is Flame Scale Furnace. So first and foremost, once per turn instant, you can pay 1 resource and you will gain 1 resource for each red card in your pitch zone. And activate this ability only if you played a red card this turn. It has temper, so first it blocks for 2 and then can block for 1 in the later turns. Right off the bat, this prevents 3 damage total, so in a format like Blitz, preventing 3 damage is very good. So this deck is actually an all-red deck, and Flamescale Furnace will serve 2 purposes for this deck. One is that you can pitch a red card to play your regular card, pitch another red card on this one. It will generate 2 resource. We can activate this ability anytime you can play an instant. So that would mean we can generate an Ash anytime during an instant speed as long as we played a red card this turn. So there are some scenarios wherein, for example, we're playing second and we cast something like Fate Foreseen or any defense reactions on our opponent's turn. At the end of the turn, we can pitch our remaining red card in our hand and we can generate an Ash. So this legendary card has a pretty price on it. I would like to point out that you don't need legendary cards like this one to actually do well in your armory events. You can build your decks without legendary cards. So I have a version of Dromai. If you don't have Flamescale Furnace, I'll link a video on what my deck configuration is without Flamescale Furnace. So for the rest of our equipments, let's move forward. For our weapon, I don't think there's any other weapon that goes well with Dromai Dragons. We have Storm of Sandikai. For our legs, we're running Snapdragon Scalers. So for our head, if you don't have Flamescale Furnace, what I would really recommend is for you to run the Ironhide equipments. So Ironhide equipments will require you to pitch a red. You can block for 2 and at the same time generate an Ash with the Ironhide equipments. For my arm, I'm running Silken Form. So if you activate Quell, you can generate an Ash token off of Dromai's ability, and you can activate the instant to transform an Ash token into an Aether Ashwing. Next are our Ash and Aether Ashwing tokens. Let's just get this out of the way. So again, I'm running all red cards in this list. We are running 2 copies of Billowing Mirage. So this attacks for 3, it has Go Again, and you can transform 1 Ash into an Aether Ashwing for that additional attack. So I really love this card. We're running 2 copies. Next is Blaze Headlong. So since we are running all red cards in this list, in almost all cases, this card will have Go Again in this deck configuration. 2 copies of Burn Them All. I really love this card. I've won a lot of games with this card alone. This can sneak in that extra damage for the win. So I would suggest running always 2 copies of this card for Blitz. Next, we have Dust Up. So Dust Up is one of those cards that don't have Go Again on this list. So it's a 0 for 4 damage. And then when this hits, we create an Ash token. And we also transform 1 Ash into an Aether Ashwing. So the effect on this card when it hits is really good. And this is one of our main targets for Snapdragon Scalers. Next is our only 2-drop, Ember Moss Sanipai. So it's a 2-drop for 8 damage with Phantasm. So for this particular build, I reduced the number of Phantasm cards and I only retained Ember Moss Sanipai. Of course, all of our dragons will have Phantasm, so this is the only non-dragon card that I retained with Phantasm. Next is the first of our defense card, Fate Foreseen. So what I really like about Dromai is that it can be aggressive, and at the same time, it's a very defensive deck. So depending on your opponent, even in the main deck configuration, you can play defensively or play aggressively depending on what you're facing. Next is 2 copies of Flame Call Awakening. So I am running, in almost all cases, we would be getting a Phoenix Flame off of this since we are running all red cards. Next are our dragons. We are running Asvolai, Dromai, Kyloria, Miragai, and Yandurai. Okay, so we are running a total of 10 dragons in this deck list. Then, a single copy of Phoenix Flame that we will be fetching. We are only pitching this card for that extra resource. Although in very rare scenarios, since we are running some amount of draconic cards, we can actually attack with this for 1 damage in very rare scenarios. Next is Rake the Embers. I really love this card. So there are a lot of scenarios wherein you just want to transform 3 Ash tokens into Aether Ash Wings and start attacking, especially in matchups like Guardian or Brute, wherein they don't want to deal with your individual Ash Wings. So those are the matchups that this card really shines. Next is Ravenous Rabble. This is just a very good card in this particular deck. So we are running all red cards in this list. So it's always going to be a 0-drop for attack, and that has Go Again. We're running 1 copy of Sand Cover main board. So this can make your Ash prevent 4 damage. 2 copies of Sigil of Solace. Next is 2 copies of Sink Below, another 4 defense card that's really important. And then it has a wheel effect wherein you can put a card that's not useful in your hand, you can put that on the bottom of your library, and then you can draw a card. Then 2 copies of Skittering Sands. It's a 0-drop Go Again, wherein you get to transform one of your Ash tokens into an Aether Ash Wing, and it gains +3 attack. Next card is Snatch, another main target of Snapdragon Scalers in this deck. Draw an extra card and cast that card for an additional damage. Last but not the least for our main board is Sweeping Blow. So 1-drop, 3 damage, Go Again. And when we attack with this card, we create an Ash token. So that's it for the main deck. So for our sideboard cards, for very aggressive decks, we are running 1 copy of Wave of Reality. So this is just gonna be Ward 1 on the first time that we're gonna be receiving damage. And then we're gonna be preventing an additional damage with the Spectral token that this generates. We are running 3 Arcane Barrier cards. We are not running any Illusionist Auras in this particular build, so you can easily swap this for a Null Rune Hood. Then we are running Null Rune Gloves and Silent Stilettos. However, it's very rare for us to activate this one because usually, even with Flame Scale Furnace, we're only gonna be generating 2 resource in this deck. So you can easily swap this for your Null Rune Boots. Then remaining cards for our sideboard are defense cards. We have 1 copy of Sand Cover and 2 copies of Oasis Respite. So that's it for our Dromai list. I hope you like this list, and don't forget to like the video and comment on the video. To see you guys in the next video.